there's a great player and friend of many musos in Melbourne called Skip Sales, and Skip is a collector of things, and he collected banjos for a long time. And Skip said something once that always stuck in my head. He said, "I always just try to pick the instrument with the right spook." And I was like, "Spook? What does he mean?" And, he kind of explained it. It's like something that has character and spirit, and something that you can't quite put your finger on, but it has something. And so that's all I really look for. So, and something that feels like that it's happy to be played by me, because I feel like each instrument's different, each player's different, and so some instruments like, hey, come on, yeah, you can do that kind of thing on this, no worries. And other guitars like, don't try that on me. We don't do that. So yeah, something that has spook and spirit and feels like that it wants to be played. It feels comfortable to be played by me. So that guitar, my grandfather was given to it by my great-grandmother, Connie. She bought him a 1930s dobro sometime in probably, well, I'd say early 50s, after World War II sometime, probably, I would imagine. And he played on his lap. He played slide on his lap, and I think he also played a bit upright. And he was kind of well known in the small country towns of the South that he lived in, like Nannup, Northcliffe, for playing Danny Boy, a classic old, Irish ballad. And so I got given, once I started playing guitar at 15 and kept at it through 15 and 16, my grandmother, who had witnessed all her sons and daughters, all 8 of them, try to learn guitar, but none of it ever sticking. When I was 16, she saw that I was still playing and passionate, and she gave me this dobro, which I didn't know what to do with for about 6 years. Yeah, but that guitar ended up being like the, what's the word? Yeah, like it was waiting for me to discover myself. And once I discovered open tuning and slide guitar and my love of Indian music and Celtic music, and open tuning just let me into that dobro, and I was like, okay, this all makes sense now. A lot different. The first busking album, it was a trade. I gave all my oil paints away. I was studying to get my fine arts degree and become an art teacher. I gave all my art. I traded all my oil paints for a free recording at my friend Sharon McDonald's place. She had an ADAT recording machine, and so she played percussion on it, and I played guitar. And we just recorded it live. This one was made in Santa Fe, New Mexico. It was, I did all the drumming myself and looped it all up, and then grabbed a whole bunch of voice memo sketches and built them into instrumentals, which I'm still learning how to play properly. I should probably warm up more when recording. I warm up a lot more before I perform, because I play for 2 hours plus. And so my biggest one is just trying to get my muscles to do things I want it to do, rather than too much theory. So I kind of do like just fret ones, like, and just try to get dexterity and clarity, because I'm not the cleanest of players. I just kind of do that stuff to really get my muscles in limber, so that when I do want to do something, at least my muscles and tendons and fingers will hopefully obey. When I'm on the road, they change about every 2 gigs. I don't like changing them every show. I just think they don't sound the best being changed every show. I think it's a waste of resources. And I have like 2 or 3 12 strings on the road and a couple 6 strings, and I'm getting around on enough instruments. If I played one instrument all night, I might change it every night. But yeah. And yeah. I first got into banjo. I bought a girlfriend a violin, and then she broke up with me, and I hadn't given her, I hadn't paid for it yet. So instead of paying the rest of the violin off, I just bought this really crappy banjo. And I liked it because it sounded actually Eastern. If you tuned it openly, it sounded like, had these kind of Northern African and kind of Indian qualities to them. So I started kind of mucking around in that way. But the first real banjo player that I just absolutely loved the playing of was Gillian Welsh. And just beautiful clawhammer work and all that old Appalachian style of music really kind of enamored me. And then since then, there's a myriad of great players. Most of them I don't know the names of because I'm not that studious when it comes to some of that stuff. But I mean, yeah. Scruggs, I think Scruggs is one. There's old mate. He's still playing heaps in lots of experimental bands. I forget his name. Anyways, yeah, there's lots of great players, but Gillian Welsh was the main. I learned how to fingerpick from my first teacher, Ori, or not my first teacher, my second teacher, very important. My first teacher was a jerk. And he just taught me, what did he teach me? Like, he taught me one thing that was really, really, that was one of the best guitar picking songs. Was it? And that would really just kind of brought, I think it's a Pink Floyd song, and that one really worked. Because I think at the time I showed him Jolene. I was like, I don't know what's going on with this guitar, but this guitar is crazy good. He was in like a ACD cover band, and I was like taking him, bringing him Jolene and going, dude, hear this guitar playing, it's heavy. And so that's what was my introduction. That, and I think those two things kind of introduced me. And once I kind of got those things under my belt, because I never quite perfect anything because I'm a little bit too attention deficit to kind of, if I learn this, I'm eventually going to be like, oh wait, I can do some like something else cool, you know? Just get lost in that world for a while. So yeah, those things really taught me. And then anytime I meet anybody who's doing something cool, I just ask them a question like, what are you doing? What is that? And I tried to remind myself to always stay super humble at the altar of being a student and at the altar of guitar. And so I'll just get together with anybody and be like, what is that thing you're doing? And, oh, big one was this one. And then just down. And that pattern just, like, that's what I play mainly on banjo. All the banjo stuff I do, a lot of it is just, is all. So, yeah, anytime, whether it's Rodrigo Gabriela, she showed me the, they do this great thing where it's like down, down, up, up, down. I still haven't mastered that one. But anything I like the look of, I'll sit down and ask the person and get them to school me. Yeah. 3 is done. I just finished that, which is a full-length studio album with just shit tons of guitars and banjos and tenor guitars and synthesizers and drums and marching drums and 808s. And that's finished. And then the 4th season will come out in a couple of years once I catch my breath. It was 1997 or 1998. That's when I got my first 12-string guitar. First 12-string Maton. It was at the acoustic shop in Perth, and I made enough money busking, and I was like, I'm gonna get myself a nice guitar. I'm gonna treat myself, and now I got a Maton. Yeah. Maton was on par with just like all the best guitars. And actually I remember it was like Martin or Maton. That was like the two, like they're both really good, which one you want. I was like, oh, I'd love to get something Australian made. And a lot of the great players around me were using them, and it was quite a thing. I'm like, oh, only one day I can afford a Maton, or if I could get one, I was 20 and busking, so $100 was a lot of money, let alone, I think I paid $700 for that guitar, which is cheap nowadays. And I was like, whoa, I'm really going for it. Yeah, it was just what all the best people were playing, and I wanted to be amongst that. I really love Maton's jumbo body. This is something that it gives just that little bit more richer mids than, say, a dreadnought would, but still has all the big body of a dreadnought, but just that little bit more richer mids. Better for, in my opinion, better for finger picking. And then, man, obviously the craftsmanship. And then, hugely, not to be understated, is this AP5 pickup, which I think is probably one of the best pickups on the planet. I played a lot of different pickups, and if I had to only have one pickup, I think I'd pick the AP5. Yeah, I mean, I've thought about it like this. There's times, I run 2 pickups. I have a magnetic Seymour Duncan and an AP5, and that is my acoustic sound, and I stick that through a blender, and it's the best. But if I had to pick one to kind of get me through anything and still have serious grunt and clarity, this pickup is far out amazing. I'm not just saying that either because I'm sponsored by Maton or it's just a sick pickup, and it just has so much oomph to it, and you could just also, it's great for body percussion, and yeah, it's a goodie. Well, I played for about 9 or 10 years with Michael Barker all around the world. that period of touring for 10 months a year for 10 years was done with Michael, and he's a great percussionist and just a great drummer and musician around, and it felt like the right time to get back together with him, and if he was so into it. And then Michael Boas is a great percussionist and another great drummer, and I see guitar as just basically a drum kit that makes melody. I look at finger picking and guitar playing very much like this, So, playing with 2 percussionists just feels like at home. I'm like, yes, heaps of rhythm, and another drum kit in the middle that has strings on it. Perfect, yeah. The original inspiration, that's 14 years ago now, is that there's a plethora of great talent in this country, and there wasn't a lot of great managers. There's like all these great artists, and like who was going to help them kind of have a career and do all the things in the community and the industry that needed to be done, and there was a huge shortage of that. So we wanted to add to that, and we wanted to create or we wanted to advertise and to really, exclaim that, you can give a man a fish, he eats for a day, you can teach him how to fish, he eats forever, and to look at that as the idea of how to have a career, teaching people that, yes, it's one thing to look for a manager and look for people in the industry who are going to make and break you, or in both ways, but you're always going to have to manage yourself, and you're always going to have to be the person steering that vehicle, and it's about your idea of what success is, what your vision and definition of success is, and how you go about getting that and achieving that. And that takes management, but it takes self-management as well as industry management. And so we wanted to, kind of elaborate upon that and tease that out and all its means. And it just keeps on changing as it grows, because the industry is radically changed, and I think more so than ever, people need to know what their version of success is, and how they want to get it, and how they want to stay sane, mentally all right in this world, and trying to make it in music, because it's quite a strange vocation. I have no idea, I don't have a band yet, I don't know how to play the songs on my new albums. I have no idea. I try to write a good set list, try to have a good band. My memorable moments are Michael Franti, me watching him side of stage, and then him seeing me and going, come out on stage and sing, which was still one of the most frightening moments of my life. God, seeing Midnight Oil play there and getting the chills and crying in the audience because they're Midnight Oil. There's a million and one great moments. The power going out twice during our set in the early years, that actually was everybody's favorite part of the set, because it turned into a massive drum and sing along. That festival has a lot to answer for. Oh man. Oh, just a lot of movement. I don't know. I guess for me, it's just been a good, honest, working living, and I've spent a lot of time on the road and a lot of time around the places, and things like headlining Red Rocks. We've done that 5 times now, but it took 10 years before we were able to headline it ourselves. I had supported so many acts there, and so everything feels, and I don't say this lightly or in some strange kind of egotistical way, but like, I'm not necessarily naturally gifted. I have to work for everything I earn, and everything I play, it comes with great effort. And so the things I've achieved, it has taken great effort, so I look back and I see a lot of good work. I see work. Sometimes it takes my breath away. 8, 9, 10 months of the year on the road with my family in buses for a decade. That shapes you into a certain creature, and so I'm thankful for the work. I think the work has brought the best out in me. It's definitely kept me healthier. It doesn't allow me to smoke before I get on the stage. It won't allow me to be drunk or stoned before I get in front of people. Otherwise, I'd probably be smoking and drunk and stoned a lot. So it's brought the best out in me, and it constantly asks more of me than I'm sometimes able to deliver, which always helps me expand and grow and become a more well-rounded or mature individual to meet it, because it deserves to be met. I feel very grateful that the muse or the music has felt safe to come out of me and through me, and it definitely goes, hey, we're not going to be able to rest on your laurels here, and it's not always going to be pretty, but if you try really hard, maybe we can do something that's kind of cool. And so I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for that opportunity.